Guys, we got some satellite loops here from Harvey, and I'm a little bit concerned lag might be a problem. If so, it's no big deal. We'll just post them at 7:20 later tonight, and I'll probably do that anyway. So anyway, here's a look at Harvey. And there she goes. I have no idea how much of that came out, but we'll take a look, and I've got a bunch of these. I've got some Dvorak loops, which are pretty interesting, and you can kind of see Harvey coming together very quickly there in the Gulf, and I'll be posting one of Irma also. Okay, we're back to southerly flow here in Texas. There it is, having to run the ACs all afternoon once again. Temperatures coming back up, and let's see what things are like outside right now. 90 up there in Dallas, and out in Louisiana, still a few 70s, so we're still dissipating a lot of the cool air out in that region right there. Up in the northern plains, we do have that cold front on its way south. A few thunderstorms there in Minnesota. But behind that front, lots of 40s and 50s coming in from Canada. And for some reason, we don't have any observations north of the border. And then back in Arizona, looks pretty mild, actually. Mostly upper 90s in that area, and the monsoon pattern definitely kind of underway. Lots of thunderstorms there in the Four Corners and Northern Rockies. There's a look at the satellite, and let me rescale the image a little bit here. There we go. That'll make it a little bit easier to run the animations. And everything is moving pretty quickly west to east, so we may have more of a dynamics-driven system out there. Indeed, out there in Nevada, we can see a little bit of what looks like a little bit of curvature here. So it looks like some sort of wave coming through Arizona and Utah there. Pretty hot here in the Texas area, and you can see the lakes there. That's the cool lake bodies, and if you actually read off the temperatures, we're showing like about 80 to 83 for lake temperatures there, and you contrast that with a 90 to 100 degree surfaces. So kind of a big difference. Those lakes really stand out. And we'll take a look out in the southeast. Got a little bit of thunderstorm activity moving in towards Florida this evening. Some sort of wave off the coast, it appears. And we don't have the tropical easterlies. In fact, we've got some sort of westerly flow. And that's not too surprising because we've had that troughing across the southeast U.S., and that means westerly flow south of that. And that's what tends to recurve the systems, the hurricanes, as they approach zones like that, coastal zones. And there's what's left of Jose out in the Atlantic. Not much left. And then for the northeast U.S., looks like just a lot of mid and high cloud in that area. And these are probably the remains of Irma up in that region. And then the northern plains, we have that frontal system up in that region. And there's some pretty good thunderstorms there around International Falls, moving towards Lake Superior. And I'm kind of curious about the severe weather potential with that. This is definitely the season where derechos can be a problem in Ontario and Quebec. And there for the western U.S. definitely looks dynamic in nature. Looks like kind of a big system coming together out in that region. So that's kind of what's happening. And down in the tropics, looks like there's a little tropical storm or hurricane off the coast of Mexico there. It's probably a tropical system. I don't see too much development on that. Probably a tropical storm there. Okay, so what do we have there? Yeah, it is a tropical storm, Norma. That's what's coming together there, and we've got Max, which is inland a little bit, and that's also a tropical storm. And then the Atlantic itself, let's see what that looks like. Jose still wandering around out there, and that's expected to recurve pretty early and then possibly graze the coast here around the middle of next week. And then we've got a couple of waves lined up for the Cape Verde area, 80% chance of formation, so I think we're looking at another hurricane coming together here. And then the 5-day potential, looks pretty active in that area. So for the Lesser Antilles, things looking pretty dismal here in about 5 to 10 days. Okay, we'll check out the upper air hemispheric. And a few days ago, this was on Monday, we were seeing a lot of ridging in Quebec there. And Irma was coming on shore and kind of digging underneath that ridge there. And then we saw the remains of Irma come in inland. And now what we're seeing is that wave opening up and Irma disappearing, and we're kind of replacing this pattern with troughing in the western U.S. And that's associated with the cold air that's coming inland from the Pacific. So things over the next few days will be influenced pretty heavily by that. And so there's the Canadian charts right there showing a lot of high pressure from the Western Canada area to the North Pacific, bringing that front end through Nevada. So we'll be looking for that on the surface charts. And let's see if that's coming up on the thickness panels. Okay, there we go. There's Jose off the coast there, and this is our new frontal system coming together. Looks to be something like that there. Looks like a combination of cool air in the central Canada area and a little bit of cool air from the Pacific also. So all of that coming together, and things pretty active out there in the Northern Rockies. Looks like a pretty strong westerly flow developing in that region. And earlier this morning, up at 200 millibars, there's the pattern right there. Subtropical jet over Southern California. about 65 knots there, and then the main polar front jet that's up in the Pacific Northwest into Canada like that right there. So it's starting to, we're starting to bring the jet back into the U.S. once again, starting with the Pacific Northwest. All right, so let's see here. I guess we'll take a look at the chat, and let me get this fixed here. There we go. I'll just zoom out on that. So we'll take a look at the big picture, and then I'll see what's going on in the chat room. We've got Carl here and Alex. Storm is firing over the Arrowhead. Maybe some lightning pictures tonight. Alex Front hearing things about La Nina. Got Ron Chalfant here. Loving the snow. Not a big fan of shoveling it. We have Ryan Toomey's there. Tropics looking to get active again. We have Sue M here and Stephen R. Veo Joe, Megan John, Mike R. Ryan says Jose is moving out of the picture, moving north very shortly and out to sea. Idaho, currently about 60 there from Taco Bell, cloudy and smoky. Mark Davis is with us, and 75 degrees there in Illinois from Veo Joe. Ryan says the steaming heat is back in southern Florida, 102 degree heat index with no wind. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad there. The elderly folks are suffering the most, many deaths from heat-related illnesses because power is still out. Progress Energy, Florida Power and Light has Florida at 40%. Which is something at least. Carl Berghoff is watching those storms over Minnesota. Rapid firing over Wisconsin. Can't wait for the lightning. Tom Bombadil, termites telling the season. Justin Polium says Harvey brought very mild weather for a week or so. Yeah, we did get some of that very cool air here in Texas. Ryan says government officials warn people that airports and hospitals are not shelters. Sea surface temperature is pretty strong south of Cuba. I guess we should take a look at that. Sea surface temperature, see what we're looking at. And let's see here. Yeah, OSPO is a pretty good source of that to go to. And we'll go to the Gulf of Mexico. Actually, I think we should look in the... I want to find something that's kind of Caribbean and Atlantic, because we could be looking at both here over the next 5 days or so. Yeah, here we go. September, okay, that's yesterday. So we don't have a good way of reading this, so this is actually more useful in Paint Shop Pro. So let me get that going here. Oh, and you get a bigger image too. Okay, so, and the reason I say this is more useful in here is because I can kind of directly read. I wish they had kind of a viewer for reading the actual temperatures. And Let me see if I can put this in the same window here. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm reading the temperatures south of Cuba here, and I can see in the color viewer up here 255 and 95 in that area. And so it's just a matter of just reading that and seeing where that comes up. 255 and 95. That's going to be right in this region right here. Okay, so it's pretty easy to read that the temperatures just south of Cuba are right around 29.3 Celsius, which is about 84 to 85. So very warm. In fact, this whole area has pretty similar shading, lots of 84 to 85. So that's definitely supportive of tropical cyclones there. Off the coast of Bermuda, even up there, we've got 255, 116, which is going to be 20. Yeah, that's going to be in the 29-degree range also. Some very warm ocean waters. And let's see if we can pull up an anomaly chart. Oh, okay, they got a field contour. That's helpful. Okay, yeah. Guess I was doing things the hard way there. So yeah, 29 Celsius across this entire area from Dominica, the Antilles, up to Florida. And that's kind of a closer look at things with a contour interval of every 1 degree. And let me see here. Do they have sea surface temperature anomaly? Yes, we do. Caribbean. Yeah, so basically all of your warm shades, anything from yellow up to orange and red, is above normal. And it looks like things are still running up below normal in the Western Gulf. Maybe that's from the impact of Harvey there earlier, I would assume. And then things running well above normal in the Bermuda and Cuba area there. And out east or west of the Cape Verde area, sea surface temperatures running up to about 2 to 3 Celsius above normal. So pretty ripe area out there for development. And let's just go ahead and look at the forecast, and we'll just head right into the GFS. And let me see if I can bring up a chart that has more coverage out in the Caribbean. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll just go with that there. So that's Jose right there with 983. And we'll see what's coming into that region. So there goes Jose. A little bit of intensification there to 956, and then we do get some sort of tropical cyclone or hurricane developing, crossing, I guess, around Guadalupe. I'm not too sure. Martinique's, I should have a reference map here, but 962, 950, 940, pretty rapid development south of Puerto Rico there. And then crossing through Dominica, a little bit of weakening there, and then re-intensification around Bermuda. And then down to 921, so now we've got almost a Cat 5 there, around the 24th. And then we see that being taken into Florida around the 26th. But this is 288 hours out. About the only thing we can be certain of is that there is going to be a threat to the East Coast here later in the month, about 11 days from now. Then we get another wave. This is pretty far north, so I don't know if that's going to be an impact. Yeah, that's way up north, so probably no issues there. And then towards the end, looks like we have another wave coming out of the Cape Verde area around the 30th. Okay, so later in the month, looks like we do have another risk here. So for the near term, we're just going to have that cold air mass coming out of Canada and the Pacific. And with that, we'll have increasing flow from central, the Great Basin area to the northern plains right there. Pretty strong jet coming together. And things will stay pretty warm in Texas and Oklahoma here. The front is going to kind of stall out there in Kansas around the 18th and 19th. And then we get the southerly flow pick back up through the plains. Warm front right there. It looks like we have a very strong system coming together around the 19th or 20th in the Great Basin area. Then I'll move out into the plains around the 20th and 21st. Some thunderstorm potential here, and we've been talking about severe weather there, maybe around the 20th and 21st. So things will be active there. And then a couple more fronts coming out of the Great Basin area, and then here's that hurricane way off to the south, approaching Florida. And that could be a strong one there. And there's the remains moving up into Georgia and Alabama. The damage from all of these hurricanes this season has totaled close to $500 billion. I think we're at about 400 billion. 300 billion of that is from Irma, and the other is from Harvey. So, yeah, it has been a bad season for the insurance industry there, and it looks like it's not over. Here's the next system, and this is 28th, 29th. And that'll go extratropical, some rain there for the northeast U.S., and then bringing down another Canadian air mass for the last couple of days of September. So that's the picture from here. Let me get our closing media together, and I think we're done. Okay, so I will go ahead and close things out, and we'll check on the weather over the weekend as this thing approaches or starts coming together. And it's probably not going to be until late next week before we have a better picture on what's going to happen with this next tropical cyclone. All right, well, take care, and we will see you tomorrow.